Hi everyone again, it's Dr. Marco with your Monday video health tip. This week is the health tip for mothers or fathers who happen to be bottle feeding their babies. A very important but subtle neurological thing that needs to be done, or that should be done, that most people just don't know that they should be doing. If we look at how naturally, if a mother is breastfeeding their baby, there's sort of like a natural sort of pattern to it. So she'll be breastfeeding the baby on this side. When that breast starts to run dry, she'll kind of switch the baby over and put the baby on the other breast to finish the feeding. So it's pretty typical for the baby to go from one side to the other during normal breastfeeding. So the neurological implications of that are really quite strong. So if the baby's on this side, the eye and the ear that are touching mom basically are kind of getting blocked out from sensory stimulation. So this arm is kind of free, this leg might be free, and there's sound and visual stimulation coming to this side of the baby to affect the other side of the brain. And then mom will naturally switch the baby over. So switching the baby over will have effects on the vestibular system. That'll be stimulating that side-to-side motion and position awareness. But then it'll also kind of be blocking this side, and so that the other side of the brain will get its stimulation sound-wise and visually from the side that's out to the environment and the free arm and leg here. So that sort of natural sort of back and forth pattern that happens in nature, you should actually really try to mirror that when you're bottle feeding your baby. Because the tendency is, when you're bottle feeding, you'll usually just put the baby like this and use your dominant hand to feed the baby, and you'll do that every time. So if you think of how many feedings every day for however many months you're actually going to be feeding your baby, you're basically sort of always robbing this side a little bit. You know, it's a very subtle thing, but it is something that can have an impact on neurological development, because we really want a good cross-patterning development for the baby. We want both sides to be getting the proper sensory and motor stimulation and auditory stimulation as well as this vestibular movement stimulation. So as you're bottle feeding your baby, make sure you're doing it half the feeding that way, and you switch the baby over and you do the other half of the feeding that way. Okay, so that's your big health tip for this week. It's a subtle thing, but it's a very important thing. And I'm going to be sharing other tips like that in a special workshop this week. This is especially for people who have children in the autism spectrum or with ADHD. So the workshop, it's going to be on Saturday, July 25th, here in my office at the Network Family Care Center. It's a 10:30 a.m. start. It's $20 for tickets. Myself, and I have a guest speaker named Sylvana Young. She's going to be speaking as well. The workshop title is Unique Brain-Based and Play-Based Care for Babies or Children in the Autism Spectrum. So I've done workshops on autism and ADHD quite often, and I've always gotten a lot of great testimonials from people thinking they've heard it all, but when they come here they actually hear some new information that they didn't know, and a lot of great strategies, just like something as simple as that, which can actually have a big impact on babies' brain development as well as their health and a bunch of other things. So please share this video with whoever you know who is bottle feeding their baby, and with anybody you know who has children in the autism spectrum that happen to be in the northeast area of Toronto, or anywhere in the GTA for that matter, because people will travel far and wide to get the right information and maybe get help for the kid that they're looking for. So please share the video, and we'll see you next week.